Karen's sisters screamed demands for a window seat, but reality hit hard when the crew shut them down. Have you ever seen grown women full grown, loud, and furious throw a tantrum on a plane like toddlers denied a Happy Meal toy? Because I did. I was there. Row 17, seat B. And what unfolded across the aisle was part comedy, part chaos and pure karma. Let me take you back to the beginning. It was a red-eye flight from Atlanta to Denver. I had my headphones, a hoodie, and a planned plug-in pass out. But just as I was settling in, I heard the unmistakable sound of a suitcase being dragged like a dead body through gravel. Then came the voices. Two women, mid-50s, same round shape, same sharp faces set to default disgust. One of them was huffing as she turned sideways to wedge herself down the aisle. The other was already complaining loudly about overhead space. "You'd think for what we paid, we get decent bins," said the one in leopard print. "Oh, look, those kids stole our window seat," said the other, motioning to a quiet teen girl already sitting buckled by the window. And just like that, the atmosphere in row 17 turned electric. The teen girl, maybe 15, ponytail, soft sweater, visibly nervous, looked up, confused. She held up her boarding pass like it was a shield. "This is my seat. 17A. Karen 1, leopard print, snatched it from her hand and squinted. "No, honey, you must be reading it wrong. These were our seats. We booked them months ago. Window and middle. You're in the wrong row." Karen 2, pink shawl, chimed in, "You're probably flying with some budget points or student whatever. This is a premium upgrade seat." The girl looked like she was about to cry. That's when I spoke up. "Actually, she's in the right seat," I said. "I'm 17B. She's an A, and you're not on either." Karen 1's eyes darted to me. "Are you trying to tell me we didn't book a window?" "Not unless you're sitting on my lap," I replied. A flight attendant arrived, sensing something was brewing. Her name tag read Tamika, and from her face alone, I knew this wasn't her first Karen rodeo. "Is there a problem here?" she asked calmly. Karen 2 pointed down like she'd spotted a cockroach. "Yes, she's in our seat." Tamika took all of 2 seconds to check the manifest on her tablet. "I'm sorry, ma'am," she said. "You're actually in row 23, aisle and middle. This is row 17. Karen 1 blinked. "But I paid for an upgrade." Tamika raised a brow. "Our system shows standard economy. No upgrades." And then the first twist hit. Karen 1 spun to her sister and hissed, "Not quiet enough. I told you we should have used that travel agent again." Karen 2 replied, "She blocked us after the Cancun mess, remember?" I wasn't the only one who heard. The guy in 17C lifted his phone ever so slightly. Record light blinking. Passengers were whispering. Some were straight up watching like it was in-flight entertainment. The Karens didn't back down. "Listen," Karen 1 said, shifting her bulk dramatically. "We need the window. She's a child. She can sit somewhere else." At that moment, the teen girl found her voice. "My mom paid for this seat. I get airsick. I asked for the window because I need to look out." Tamika stepped in like a queen. "That's final, ma'am. You need to take your assigned seats or we'll delay boarding." Karen 2 snapped. "You're just taking her side because she's a kid." Now came the second twist. The captain appeared, the actual pilot. Clipboard in hand, calm voice. "Ladies," he said, "you have 2 choices. Take your assigned seats now, or we'll escort you off the plane." Karen 1 sputtered. "You can't do that. I'm a Silver Star member." The captain didn't even blink. "And I'm the guy who decides if this plane flies. Let me know." The cabin went so quiet you could hear the air vents humming. Karen 1 stood frozen, her face a mix of disbelief and rage, like no one had dared say no to her in decades. Karen 2 tugged at her sleeve, whispering frantically, but it was too late. The teenage girl wasn't crying anymore. She was staring straight ahead, hands gripping the armrest like she'd survived something. And in a way, she had. The captain, still as a statue, repeated himself. "Last chance. Seats or removal." Karen 1 gritted her teeth, huffed so loud it rattled her pearls, then turned and stomped toward the back of the plane like a toddler denied candy. Karen 2 waddled after her, mumbling something about lawsuits and Yelp reviews. As they trudged down the aisle, A slow wave of claps started soft at first, then louder. The guy in 17C gave me a thumbs up. The teen girl? She finally smiled. But oh, karma wasn't done. 15 minutes after takeoff, Tamika returned with another twist. Turns out the Karens had been warned by the airline before. After a previous incident on a flight to Orlando, something about unauthorized seat swapping and a spilled Bloody Mary had been flagged in the system. This time, they'd officially triggered a ban. The captain made an announcement mid-flight. To ensure comfort and safety for all passengers, we've notified airport authorities that 2 travelers will be deplaning with assistance upon arrival. That drew a ripple of gasps and one barely suppressed laugh. When we landed in Denver, sure enough, 2 uniformed airport security officers were waiting at the gate. The Karens tried to play innocent, blaming system glitches and rude staff, but the officers were having none of it. They were calmly escorted off the plane in front of dozens of rolling cameras and a line of unimpressed passengers. And the final blow? Later that night, a video of the whole scene hit social media. The title? Window Seat Meltdown. Karen Sisters vs. Teen Girl, Crew, and Gravity. By morning, it had over 1.2 million views. The best comment? When you demand the view, but end up being the show. As for me, I just smiled and shook the teen's hand at baggage claim. You were brave, I said. She replied, they were just loud. You're the one who stood up. That stuck with me. Sometimes the loudest people are just the most desperate to feel important. But respect? You don't earn that by screaming. You earn it by knowing when to sit down and shut up. So now I'll ask you, was I wrong to speak up for someone getting trampled, or did those sisters finally crash into a little turbulence of their own? The end.